Welcome to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke, and our guest today is Kim Copeland. She is a death walker, spiritual medium, and energy healer. Her work involves assisting those in the dying process, where she's walked between worlds for nearly 25 years, helping these clients cross to the next dimension. Today, we'll discuss bedside visitations and shared near-death awareness. Kim, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Johnny, for having me. This is an honor and a privilege. I really appreciate this time.
Excellent. Death Walker. That sounds pretty ominous. I'm curious. It almost sounds like a video game. Where did you get that term? Or should I say, what inspired the term?
Yes. Actually, it was given to me by one of my patients. And so I've kept it. And it was a very profound experience. And she just called me Death Walker, and it has stayed with me. But for me, what it means is that I walk between the worlds and in helping people pass across the veil. And I do it in a physical way, in the human to human, but I also do it on a spiritual way, in a spirit to spirit, in different realms.
A lot of your work takes place in hospice, I believe.
It has, yes.
Is that where you discovered your mediumship abilities, or did that come earlier?
I discovered my mediumship abilities when I was doing energy healing, even though I was already a hospice nurse. And I've been doing hospice nursing since 1997, so a pretty long time. I've been at the bedside with thousands of people. What I noticed first was that when I was working with people energy-wise, I would see the angels, just with my eyes open, angels showing up in the room, or departed loved ones in the room, or guides. So that was just normal to me. And then I started noticing it with my hospice patients as well.
What made you gravitate to energy healing then, to begin with? Because that seems like that was the beginning of your journey.
Yes, yes. I just feel like it's part of my soul to want to help heal. And I know that healing is really opening the doorway to balancing energies. It's not like me doing it, right? I work with spirit to do it. But I don't know. I'm just fascinated by it. I've studied many, many modalities for healing. I love healing work. And I feel like it is part of who I am on a soul level.
It sounds like that should be almost part of their curriculum, or at least an elective. So when was the first time that you noticed angels, spirit guides, or whatever type of other heavenly beings?
I would say in the early 2000s. I saw some around 95 as well. I did go to massage school, so even during massage school, that was in 95. I noticed the angels then, but it was a little different. It was more of a feeling. But it was in the early 2000s where, like maybe 2002, that I would see them, up on the ceiling in the room. And there would be, honestly, in my work as either doing hospice or doing the energy work, there's never a day that I didn't. It was just daily. I see them in different ways. Sometimes I see sparkles. What I know are angels, like white lights, blue lights, gold lights. Sometimes I see bigger ones with wings. Sometimes I see energy forms, like maybe we can talk about Archangel Azrael, which is one of the biggest angels I've seen. She didn't have wings. She was just a color, big, huge color.
One of the things that I've noticed about intuitives is that early on, like in childhood, they are able to see certain things, feel certain things, have make-believe friends weren't exactly make-believe, in other words. Did you find the same thing, or did that happen later in life?
Somewhat. Yes, of course, I had make-believe friends. I was never afraid to sleep alone. I didn't have that sort of experience. I did grow up in a metaphysical family. My mother was an astrologer and numerologist. My grandmother was a medium and a channeler. So, it was just kind of normal to think about spirit. I've never been afraid. It was just sort of a very gentle thing for me. I've had some like wows, right? Where like knocked me off my feet. But overall, it's been very gentle.
So when you were young, you didn't see spirits or have any kind of psychic phenomena until later on?
Well, okay. So my mother died when I was 12. Then I did notice that I would feel her, right? I would see her, feel her. But before that, probably not. That I remember anyway. And then, she's been with me since.
So you're able to communicate with your mom then?
Oh, yes. She's definitely one of my team members. And when I was first able to see her, she was more like a human, I would say. Now, this is a long time ago. This was back in 1972 and she died, right? She would show up to me looking like a human and also a little bit regretful even, or I'm sorry, the feeling of that. But then as the years went along and we both were in the healing process, because if you can imagine, when you're 12 and you lose your mom, you're kind of angry. It's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. And it took me quite a few years to kind of resolve that. When I was resolving and we were working together, she became like a huge angel. I would say about as big as Archangel Azrael. I mean, big. So the more we heal here, they also heal on the other side. They become more their soul.
We heal here, that inspires healing on the other side.
Absolutely.
Is that more particular to just average everyday souls, or is that the angels and the other beings as well?
Everybody, all souls, yes.
Everybody, okay.
Yes, and I think that it's so important to heal.
It is. Near-death awareness, how is that related to the near-death experience? Is it similar or is it something completely different?
I would say from my point of view, it's a little different. So when somebody says near-death awareness, which means when somebody's getting closer to death, they're still here in the body, but they're becoming more aware of the spirit world. So they have the vision. And for me too, even as a medium. So I have the visions with them. I see with them where they are. And even if they can't talk to me, I see where they are in limbo, or what are they doing as a spirit before they actually take their last breath. And then when they take their last breath, then I can have that shared death experience over across the bridge. Near-death awareness is being able to see, hear, feel, however you get that, the spirit beings that are near you. And oftentimes it's loved ones. It could be also angels. It can be Mother Mary or Master Yeshua, or it could be Buddha. It could be your pets. I've seen horses, hamsters, goldfish, things like that. And I've even seen like hamsters that were here, on the other side, and they've maybe shape shifted to a horse because their true soul is more like a horse. But when they were here on earth, they were in the physical body like a hamster. There's lots of interesting different things here. Yes.
Very, very interesting. And it reminds me what one guest speaker spoke about a while ago, where she was able to get a glimpse of the other side. It wasn't in a past life reading. I think her experience was more like she was in the in-between space.
Uh-huh.
And she was able to talk to a being who was in her soul group that was her pet in the previous life, if that makes any sense. So it's not the first time I've heard that, where they can kind of morph into certain things. So with your mediumship abilities, when someone's about to cross the bridge, as you say, tell us exactly what you see here and what you see across the veil.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's a wonderful question. It makes my heart sing, by the way, just to even talk about this, because it makes me feel just honored to share this, because I think it's important. We all know this. Well, first of all, everybody's unique. There is no one way. And I believe, from my perspective, over and over, that the spirit world will do whatever it can to pull you back home. And if your home feels like water, that's going to pull you to the water planet. If your home feels like a pasture of horses, it's going to pull you there. If you are just desperate to see your two white dogs, or, your grandmother or your mother, that's what's going to happen. So what I notice, usually it's a gradual from here in the physical to across the bridge, and it's a back and a forth. And as they go back and the forth, I would say about 6 weeks, perhaps, if there's that time ahead, the gathering of the spirit people come, the angels, the departed loved ones, and they hover, and they really hover. They never leave. And you can feel, it's palpable. When you go into a room, you can feel that energy. Some of the things that I've seen, of course, pets on the bed, dogs, cats, again, the hamsters, on the bed. And I've seen the family waiting, getting the parties ready. Literally, they get food, music. It's often a garden party.
They get food?
Food. They get their favorite food. And this is one of the things. So when I see this party, and I tell the family, for instance, I say, okay, I can see watermelon bowls, and I see bean and cheese burritos, for instance. And then I tell the family that this is what I'm seeing for the party waiting for them. And they say, well, of course, that was his favorite food. And so they always have the favorite food of the person who's transitioning. They're not going to have somebody else's favorite food. So they have that. Yes, there's food.
That's incredible.
Because remember, whatever's created in spirit, it's created there first. And then we bring it here on earth. And, like people still garden, things like that. So anyway, I've seen that. I've seen weddings. I've seen boats coming, like big boats coming to meet. Of course, I've seen Mother Mary. Of course, I've seen Master Yeshua. I've seen Master Yeshua actually carry somebody. And I've seen people actually walking like they were already passed before they've taken their last breath.
You've probably seen this countless times where someone is in hospice or wherever they are and they're about to pass, and they start talking to their relatives that have passed on a long time ago. I'll give you a specific example. When my mom passed, I wasn't there, but one of my sisters was there bedside, and she started talking to her father who passed away a very long time ago. And she was saying, "Daddy, would you like more wine?" And my sister says, "Mom, who are you talking to? My father's here." So we've heard those examples. I don't know how many times you've seen it. You're saying that's actually a real thing.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the greeting committee.
Again, it's like the spirit world, or whoever creator, your soul, I think it's more of your soul, decides what's going to help you find the right pathway. Because when you cross over, they want to make sure you're going to stay home. You're not going to make a wrong turn. I've seen people take wrong turns also, or decide not to just go. I've seen that. I had a young man, he was only 32. He was actually my very first patient. He would walk in the middle of the night to a dining room table, light a candle, even though he's wearing oxygen, and he's talking to unseen others. And then he goes back to bed, and he didn't remember it. It's very common to prepare. I feel like they prepare the timing, or like when, and it's very much what will bring me there.
So when we are ready to cross over, we know it. We can sense it. The veil is thinning, as it were. You mentioned Master Yeshua. Now, for those of us who are not obviously theologians and so forth, who exactly is that?
Jesus, Master Yeshua. Yes. And I just feel Jesus now. I'm not a religious person. Oh, yeah. I've seen him a lot. Too many times to count.
So the skeptical person, which many of us are, will ask the obvious thing. How do we know this is real?
I explain it this way. When they say, oh, they're having hallucinations. And then I just step back a minute, and then I ask the family, what is their belief for life after life? What do they expect? And if they say they believe in life after life, I say, well, and then I explain, it's not a hallucination, it's a vision, and it's normal. This near-death awareness, it's very normal. I would say 90% of people dying have it. So I just explain it that way, and they get it.
Is the bedside visitation the same thing as the near-death awareness, or is it slightly different?
Little different. Okay, bedside visitations can come and they may or may not be aware of it. When they're aware of it, that would be that near-death awareness. And for me, as a witness or as a co-creator in the process, the shared near-death awareness is that I can merge with them and also feel what's going on, feel, sense, know what's going on. And the closer I get to somebody, like within their energy field, like 3 feet out or so, I feel it even stronger. For instance, I had a priest who passed, and I got there about 30 minutes after he passed. And I was talking to the niece, and I was kind of not too close to the priest yet. And she was telling me what a wonderful, what a beloved man he was. So when I walked into his energy field, as I was overtaken, I had stepped into spirit world. I saw the flowers, I smelled the flowers, the roses he was surrounded by roses. I mean, head to toe, 3 feet out. There was music, there was organ music. I could hear the music. I could see other priests coming to meet him. So I would know I was in that world. And then when I kind of stepped back, I kind of stepped out of it. So it was very interesting. When I asked the family, I said, I wonder if he's hearing music. I wonder if there would be other priests meeting him. Or I wonder if he liked organ music. And then I get the yes. And then I remember in that situation, the family even smelled roses as well. So that was a confirmation that it wasn't just me. They also smelled the roses.
It's pretty incredible. Question about the mediumship abilities. It seems to me that you can sense and even see where they're going. You can see the greeting party. They're going home, as you say. Does your experience give you any insight into the in-between space, life between lives, where they go and they plan their next incarnation and so forth?
Somewhat. It doesn't happen right after death. When I'm sitting with somebody and somebody's dying, it's not that soon. I don't think, anyway. It hasn't appeared that way to me soon. I have seen it with people as I'm doing readings, and I see them working with the guides. I see them that sort of a way, and that's in a different kind of when I'm talking with people who are alive.
It makes perfect sense because your unique situation, because you can see them cross the veil, and in the in-between space, you have a glimpse of what happens before they come back.
Yes.
So in other words, you have a 360 view, because what I've been told, and it's always the same thing, souls go to the in-between space. They choose their soul family. Sometimes it's the same people over and over again in different characters, but it's almost like casting a movie.
Yes.
That sounds almost too good to be true, but is your experience similar to that with that space?
Yes. What I've also seen, once they've made this planning, and I've seen this actually with Master Yeshua, I saw him coming in also. Now, this is 2,000 years ago, but I see it now with other people. When they are coming back on Earth to be born, we talk about the tunnel going out to back home, right? The tunnel. A lot of people go through that tunnel. Well, when they come back, they come through a tunnel as well. Not just a tunnel of the birth canal, but a tunnel of light. And as they're coming through the tunnel of light back to Earth, they are surrounded by beings of like protection. It's beautiful. And when I saw Jesus, by the way, coming in, whoa, I mean, whoa, it knocked my socks off, kind of like so many angels. I don't even know how you would count them all. There's no way.
Wow. There's like an army of angels then. So
Army.
that's very cool. So what is Master Yeshua, Jesus? What is he like? Did he talk to you? What kind of communication did you have?
Well, one of the first times I saw him, I was doing energy work. I was at a conference, actually. He appeared to me in the middle of the night. He showed up in white. He had the sun behind him, gold light behind him. And he showed me where to put my hands on somebody, like when I'm doing healing work. And he showed me to put my hands underneath their head and hold. And he said, do this. This is what I did. And it was like, oh my gosh. I was actually, whoa, whoa. And then that whole 2 or 3 days later, I saw him almost like I'm seeing you now, almost materialize. It was so vibrant. I mean, a little see-through, but I could still see him. And I actually saw Mary with him, Mother Mary. It could have been Mary Magdalene, but at the time I associated with Mother Mary. I saw them together, standing together, and they were going around doing healing. And they were just appeared. And I was at a conference for healing. They were in this big ballroom. It actually kind of blew my mind, honestly. I've seen them after that again. I was doing a shamanic journey, and it was on Easter with the intention to meet Jesus or Master Yeshua. And I saw him put his hands out, and he just had, again, the white and the gold light, and he just exuded love. He didn't need to say anything because it's all telepathic. It was just love, more love than I've ever felt. I see him a lot when I do healing work, and I do most of my healing work on Zoom nowadays, and I always call him in, and he finishes the healing with gold light. Whatever we've done before, and I let spirit do it. I often work with the galactic beings. I don't want to limit the unlimited because there's unlimited power, consciousness, and it just depends where you want to focus your attention. But I always call in the galactic healers. I always call in the angels, or Raphael, and then Master Yeshua. But he always finishes the healing with gold light. And it's like he checks everything.
You've mentioned pretty much the gamut. Angels, galactic beings, shamans. The galactic beings, many people confuse the galactic beings with angels. Are they similar or not really?
Well, here's what I think. We as humans are limited in our consciousness. Even though we're moving into the 5D or we go between 3 and 5, we're not totally all universal consciousness yet in our human mind. Now, I do believe, personally, I do believe our soul is as big as it can be. And I believe we are galactic beings on another planet as well as a human here on Earth. I believe our future self that we would consider a future self is watching over our current human. And then the angels, I often see angels with the wings. Now, I don't always see them with wings. So they show up in different ways. But I also believe that angels are galactic. They have to be galactic because they're not born here. So they're intergalactic. They're interdimensional. And so I believe even as people think of Archangel Michael, right? They think of Michael has a sword and the shield and blue. Well, honestly, below all that, he's a galactic. He's a very tall being and maybe not as attractive as all this beautiful that we think of as a humanoid with the muscles and the sword, right? And the shield. But underneath all that, he's really perhaps a skinny white being with the power of the universe.
So how can us normal folk invoke the angels and other galactic beings to keep us safe and help us get to where we need to go?
That's a wonderful question because I think it helps so many people.
Before you answer that, I need to ask you something. I noticed you've paused a couple times. Are you actually asking questions to another being before you answer?
Oh, I tune in. Yes, I get my answers for sure through intuition. Some of this is yes, right away. I know in my mind, but I want to feel it with my heart because I want to answer it correctly. Because I feel like if I speak from my head, I don't know where I'm going. But if I speak from my heart, then it's more real.
Okay, good. That's something a lot of us need to know.
How does the everyday person connect? First of all, you have to know everybody's already connected. We don't have to do anything because we cannot not be connected because we are human, right? Connected to our soul, and our soul is connected to everything. But to get a deeper sense of that connection, feeling it in the heart is that portal. And you can imagine whatever color, whatever chambers, whatever doorways you want, if that helps you to create that portal, you can imagine yourself going across a bridge, perhaps, to meet your angels or your guides or your loved ones. So whatever our human needs to do is a good way to do it. First of all, the desire and the intention, and then it happens just like that. It's not that complicated. So we're always connected. It's intention. Some people say, well, how come I'm not hearing my angels? What? Well, it's often harder to hear your own because they're so close to you. Easier to hear somebody else's because you're kind of a little separate. Then you can maybe see somebody else. Know that when you ask with intention and the purity of heart, it's like they zoom in. They come in quickly. There is no time in it. They know before you even ask. Yes. And I do think it does help because when I work with people, either that are dying or that are very well alive, and I do readings, the more they talk, the more they invite into their field, the more they are there. Let's just say if somebody's working with Saint Germain, for instance, and they're always working every day, they call in that violet flame. When I work with them, it's obvious I see Saint Germain in their field, or whoever they choose, right? Whether it's Buddha, Kuan Yin, anybody that resonates with them, when they do it every day, it shows. It's easy to see.
What are some of your favorite stories of proof of life after life?
Yes, I'll tell one here. This is a little bit about Galactic, because we often forget that Galactics can help us transition as well. So this is a lady that I met, and she was already in a coma, which is not unusual for me, so I'm working with the family. This is about 3 days before she passed. The son, who I'm talking to about everything, anything, I somehow ended up talking about energy work, a little bit about spirit, because I noticed there were spirits in the room. I noticed they were in the corners. I don't always do this with people, but he told me he talks to plants. So I thought, okay, he believes in spirits. So anyway, behind him, though, as we were talking, I saw galactic beings. I saw the green, 3 of them, behind him. And I said, oh, did you know you have 3 green people behind you? He didn't know that. I see this a lot. People just don't know they have it. I felt into it, and I felt Arcturian. I didn't know. It was like brand new to me. I didn't even know what Arcturian was back then. He said, oh, it's like, okay, interesting. That's interesting. When she died 3 days later, the family said, all she said yesterday was silver spaceship, and she said it 7 times. That's all she said. They asked me, what does that mean? I did look it up later because I didn't really know. Well, the Arcturians do use silver spaceships to help people transition. So this is very interesting.
I've never heard that before. It's good to know that some of them, not all of them, are actually here to help us. The galactic beings that you speak of, could that be those beings were part of her star family? Or is that a discussion for another day?
Well, I'm not positive, but I think so. The family had no idea. She'd never talked about anything like this. This was totally new. New to them, new to me. This is maybe 15 years ago. But before I even really thought about galactic beings, I have seen these green beings before. So it's not the first time I'd seen them. I have to assume they were part of her family because why else would they do that?
It's something that does come up from time to time with the star beings. I had a medium tell me that they don't like being called aliens because alien means apart, and they don't feel like they're apart from us. Then I started hearing people talk about star families, star beings, and star races. So anything else that we need to know about this topic for today?
Yes, sure. I can tell you one more story if you want to hear that I think is pretty significant.
Sure.
Because I was pretty wowed about it. So it was a lady who, she was only 42 when she was dying. She's one of my hospice patients. She had 5 kids, did not want to die. The family didn't want to die. Everybody's doing everything to try to keep her. She had a very unusual disease, mad cow disease. Have you ever heard of it? It's kind of like dementia, but it goes really fast.
Mm-hmm.
The family was pretty much exhausted. They all needed to go away, take a break. So they left her with a caregiver. During that time, I noticed this is when Archangel Azrael came. Azrael, and I saw in the room big, huge purple. I did not see wings. I saw the deepest dark purple, and it looked like a fuzzy blanket. Almost velvety or fuzzy, kind of just a fuzzy blanket, okay? But really tall. I want to say 20 feet, really tall. Okay, but the feeling, telepathically, I knew it was, I'm here to help her not make a wrong turn. I'm powerful, I'm protective. It's like she needed that really big angel. On the side of Azrael were 2 smaller green angels. They were maybe 7 feet tall. Green, fuzzy, no wings, but they were like guards. I knew telepathically they were guards. Then, a day or 2 before she died, then I saw spirit beings doing energy work on her. Like I saw their hands, maybe a hand's about 2 or 3 feet above her body. And they looked more human, by the way. Like regular human people, but in spirit, doing energy work over her. The 2 greens at the head of the bed and that big purple at the head of the bed. A few hours before she passed, I visited her again. Everybody was gone. The angels were gone. The healers were gone. I thought, oh my God. So then I went inside, in my mind's eye. I saw her. She was walking down, looking like she's getting married. She was wearing a white wedding dress. She had orange flowers in her hair, votives, candles along the pathway. And everything looked like sunset. And then she died just a few hours later. The husband, who was not a believer in angels or anything like that, said, well, I was just reading about big purple angels that are coming to take people at the time of death. And it's Archangel Azrael. I think that's pretty amazing.
It is. And it's a lot to get our heads around. But I've heard many, many people talk about angels as if they're talking about one of their friends just walking into the room like it's a normal thing. Really, really cool stuff. Kim, thanks for joining us today. Great information, very inspiring. How can our listeners find you online?
I have a website, mediumkim.com, www.mediumkim.com. I have a YouTube channel as well, same title, Medium Kim.
Excellent. I will put that in the show notes and the transcript as well. You've been listening to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. You can find more info on closertovenus.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.